Okay, so Starseed Asnia Trigger, right? The new game from COM2US that is actually coming out in, I don't know, probably like either late October or early November. I mean, they keep changing the release date in their page, which you can always check in the iOS App Store. Even if you're like on an Android, you can check it out. Just going to the iOS website and finding the game there, right? But yeah, what I wanna do today is just review the game a bit, right? I'm gonna do an additional review probably closer to the release date, but I've noticed that there aren't a lot of gameplay videos about what you can expect from the game. Most of the gameplay that I've seen is like really early story mode, or it's like 5 to 6 months old, right? So yeah, I'm gonna showcase it from someone who has been playing the game for close to 3 weeks now. The first week I haven't been playing too actively, right? But for the last 2 weeks I've been logging in every day, doing all of the daily content. And yeah, I'm just gonna showcase mostly stuff like summons and the content, like playable content itself. I'm not gonna touch too much on like decorations and stuff, shops, all of that, right? But yeah, so the main principle in this game is it is sort of like an auto battler, right? Where you place 5 units on your team, you fight a certain amount of units on the enemy team, and the only thing you can really control is a little power up that you do, as well as the ultimate abilities of your units. Although even then, you can also set it to go full auto so that they use it by themselves, right? And there's two types of characters in the game, right? So first of all, it's the units themselves. I think they call it proxians or something like that. So these are the units that you can place in your teams, right? There are a lot of dupes. I'm not gonna get too much into the dupe system. I'll leave that for another video since I will be covering it a bit. But yeah, these are the main units. You can level them up to level 100 by default, and after that, if you want to level them further, you'll need to start collecting some dupes of those units. And I think the maximum I've seen a unit go is like 265. So yeah, the power jumps quite a bit. And then there's the second sort of system, which is like plugin drives. I believe that's what they're called. And these are essentially like a different type of summon. I guess for some of you other gacha players, these can be like weapons, artifacts, all of that, right? This is basically like an upgrade to your units. You can equip any upgrade on any unit. However, if you upgrade your unit with a specific plugin for that unit, as you can see, I have this. Also, excuse the lag, I don't know why, but the game has like a very long loading screen. So yeah, you can see this unit. I have this specific plugin on her equipped, which you can see is for the same unit. She will gain an ability called the Blossom skill, right? And what that is essentially all units have two main skills. They have a passive skill and they have an ultimate skill. But if you equip the correct plugin on the correct unit, you will unlock the ability to choose the Blossom skill, right? Which is basically like it's not an upgraded version, it's a different version, right? It's like, in most cases, it's a completely different skill. And I will say this, I have unlocked the Blossom skills on all 5 of my main units, and I only use 1 to 2 of them, right? Because again, they do different things. You have to check which one works for you, right? For me, I'm not a fan of most Blossom skills. I think only 1 unit has it constantly for me. But yeah, so when it comes to content, right? First of all, there is the big main story mission, right? There are, so far, I think the farthest one person has went on the server is Act 24, right? I think it was Act 24, Chapter 60, if I'm correct. What you can check is basically there is the sort of a leaderboard which shows the leaderboard for your server, I believe, and it shows the furthest a person has went, right? So let me try to find it real quick. Yeah, as you can see, the first place, and the furthest a person has went is Act 24, Chapter 17, and yeah, it does get quite a bit harder, right? I'm not even sure if it's the whole server because I am ranked 31 and I don't think I am a 31st player in this, so maybe it's like for your league or something like that, yeah. But what I can guarantee is that there's at least 24 acts in the game, right? And yeah, I'm currently on Act 15, Chapter 4, right? Or the other way around, I don't even know how to call it, right? And this is basically a long story mission. Almost all acts have 60 chapters, and then the 60th one is the main boss battle, after which you will go to the next act and you will unlock a better AFK reward. So there are main rewards you can see here. These are like single time rewards. And then there's the AFK reward. So the game, at least upgrading your units, relies a lot on the AFK system, right? As you can see here, for a maximum of 16 hours, you are able to AFK gather materials. So this will be XP potions, gold, and XP for your overall character, right? So you get these materials, you get a lot of like bonus stuff, and these will accumulate while you are not doing anything, right? You can leave the game running, you can close the game, doesn't matter, it will still count for the 16 hours. And once it hits the 16-hour limit, you will reach the cap and you will no longer be able to get any more rewards until you log into the game and claim them, right? And this, I will say this is like the main way to upgrade your units. Even if you play constantly day 1, day 2, even if you're able to progress, right? Eventually you will hit a cap where you have to wait for these AFK rewards, because this is like the main way to get EXP, which you need to upgrade your units with. So yeah, even if you're super pay to win, all of that, you will eventually be capped a little bit by the EXP materials, right? So I will showcase the story mode as well as some of the other modes when it comes to like content itself. So for the story mode, very simple. You place 5 units. You see the enemies on the screen. You can check their skills, I believe. I'm not gonna showcase the skills too much because it's all in Korean, right? I know majority of the skills, at least for my units, right? So I know what they do. And yeah, you build the team essentially, right? When it comes to team building, you can place it on any of the 9 slots. And you have to think about these slots based on the enemy placement, right? Like you can see that there's a unit far in the back, there's a unit here. My units are still quite weak, I would say. I'm still quite early game, although I have unlocked a lot of content. I haven't focused too much on like proper team building. I'm just using what I have the most updated units with, right? And yeah, essentially, you have to build your units, right? Based on this, you'll want to power them up further, right? So first of all, what you can do is you can select a specific buff for any of your units, right? So as you can see here, I'm not sure why the screen is lagging. It's probably like 30 FPS, so I apologize for that. Yeah, what you can do is essentially select a buff and the location of the buff. So for example, this one, it will buff all night type units, right? And it will buff all night type units in the center row, as you can see. Which means that you will want to adjust your placement based on the units that you buff, right, as well as the type of the unit. So for me, I have 2 type units. Those are in the second column that is currently marked. It's in first row and third row. Those will benefit from the night and from the night type buff, and then the units will benefit from being in the second column as well, right? Then on top of that, you can change the skills. As I said, like you have the regular awaken skill, right? Once you unlock it. And if you have the correct plugin, you unlock the blossom skill as well. And you can also change the buffs. This is not too important, really. I just have 1 buff on most of them, so it wouldn't matter. Some stages will require you to build 2 teams. I still don't have a second team as it's a bit too expensive for me still. But I will showcase the first team that is available here, right? Okay, and there we go. So this is the gameplay. Again, as I said, I currently have everything set on full order, right? Because you can impact it a bit more manually, but then again, we're gonna play a lot of stages. It's gonna get tiresome after a bit, right? So I usually just keep it full order. Again, for this stage, as I said, my first team is decent. It beats the stage. The problem is my second team. I don't really have a second team, so I'm not able to beat this stage just yet, right? So yeah, I'll look on that. You can use your friends' units 2 times per day, so it does help you beat those harder stages if you do get stuck on them, especially if you are in a server that is a little bit older, or you have friends that have spent some money on the game or spent more time in the game, which means they'll have stronger units, right? So yeah, this is the basic story mode, right? You can see most of the stuff is on order. So yeah, I'm not gonna continue with this. I know I am not able to beat the second level yet. Instead, I will showcase more of the content that is available, right? So together with the main story mission, right, the rest of the content will be in here. So first of all, we have a lot of tabs here. I'm gonna try to explain all of them, right? Unfortunately, I don't have the second part of this unlocked yet. And as you can see, it does require you to go to Act 24, Chapter 60, which unfortunately means that I'll probably not have this unlocked for like a good half a year, I'm guessing, right? So yeah, the first thing is this is like a tower of, I don't know, for my Chronicles players, this is like the Spires of Ascension or whatever, right? It's a tower that you climb. The concept is very similar. You seed enemies, right? You build your team. Really nothing too special, right? They do scale quite a bit. You can see that the power at the top is significantly higher than my team. I'm not even sure if I can beat this. I haven't done the TOA attempts in like a few days, I think. Although you need to do 1 attempt per day for a daily mission. Whether you beat it or not doesn't matter. So yeah, that one very similar to the story mode, except it doesn't seem like it resets and it gives you much higher rewards than a regular story mode stage, right? Next up, unfortunately, I haven't saved any of these battles for today. I used them by accident and I don't think I am able to showcase. But these are the 4 fights where you will be getting some upgrade materials for your units, right? So next to the bosses, you can see the upgrade materials here in the little square box, right? So the first one is essentially materials for skill ups, which means you will be able to upgrade skills of your units. It is quite scarce, so I am missing quite a lot of materials in order to upgrade the currently built units, right? Even for the 5 that I'm using. The second one is to upgrade proxies, right? So those upgrades will give you tiny stat boosts to your main units that have the plugin equipped. Really nothing too crazy, right? But you do want to be gathering those every day. The third one will upgrade, it's like some sort of a special ability that only one of my units have, and I think it only starts at like UR rank or something like that, which does require you quite a bit of dupes. So naturally that content will unlock last, I believe, because you need to have a unit that meets that requirement. And the fourth one is material to upgrade your weapons, right? So yeah, this one is kind of simple, right? You start at stage 1, you keep going down and you keep unlocking new stages, right? I guess there are 40 stages in total. I haven't tried a new stage in like a week because it does consume quite a bit of time. If you do not want to try a new stage, right, you are able to quick battle a stage that you have already beaten. So for example, I've beaten level 12, right? Which means the next stage, level 13, right, I will have to fight in order to beat. But if I don't want to fight, I can just click on the entry of the level 12 one, right? I can select how many times I want to battle it. You get 5 entries per day once you have upgraded your buildings. And you will be able to just gather these materials in just a few seconds without having to fight, right? So yeah, these are essentially things you do daily. You can do all of them by just clicking the button there. Unfortunately, I've done it, so yeah, I'm not able to do that. These 3 are the dungeons that open every day for the different ones. So right now, the blue one is open. Soon, either the red one or the green one will open. I think it will be the red one. And on Sundays, all 3 of them are open. These are as well like permanent dungeons, right? So for this one, I've beaten the most. And what these do is, first of all, they'll give you these tokens, which you can use to upgrade your units a bit further. And on top of that, you will get a permanent buff, which will reduce the damage you take, and it will increase the damage enemies take based on the element of that was upgraded, right? So these are the 3 main elements. There's also a light and dark element for units. So yeah, these are permanent upgrades that you do by beating them, and then you can use the medals that you get from there to upgrade further, right? Next up is the PvP modes. You know what? I'm gonna leave PvP for last since I do have a ability to showcase those. I haven't used all of the entries. The fifth one is sort of like, I don't know what you call it, arcade, I guess, right? So first one is essentially permanent boss fights as well, right? So you unlock these after you beat the boss in the story mode. I have like good 8 of them unlocked, right? And these again will give you one-time rewards. It seems like there are 10 stages in total. During the 5th stage, once you beat stage 5, you get a free 5-star summon, I believe, an SSR summon. And once you beat level 10, you get these little weird borders, right? Again, one-time thing. Unfortunately, I don't have the safe area unlocked yet. For this one, I believe this is like a... Yeah, this is an interesting one. I haven't tried it too much yet because I'm actually not even able to beat the weakest one. But this is a boss fight, right, that you can select, and you can add additional buffs or debuffs to the boss or to your own team. And in return, you'll get the ability to get a higher score, which means based on the higher score, you will be able to get more rewards, right? So these are the rewards you get for beating the dungeon, and then you compete with other players for more rewards based on the score that you get, right? So yeah, again, like I'm not even able to beat the lowest level without any debuffs, so I'm not gonna put too much focus on that, right? For this one, again, it looks like it does reset eventually. I'm not sure if the reset cycle has been there for like a week at least, so it might be monthly or something like that. But this one is very similar. There will be waves of units that come, and you just have to place a team that will be able to deal with all of them. As you progress, you will get some one-time rewards. You'll be able to move to Area 2, presumably Area 3 and more, right? As you can see, I only beat stage 13. And the cool thing about this is you are not able to reuse the same units infinitely, right? So you can only use each unit 6 times in here, yeah? So I haven't known this before, but yeah, you can see that there's little orange numbers next to the units. This shows how many stages they can be used in. Once they are used, you're not able to reuse them anymore. So you have to sort of like plan and switch around your units constantly. For this one, come on, see like that loading thing. That loading thing is a bit annoying. Okay, and the last one, this is like this weird infinite mission, right? So what happens is you start at area 1, and each area will have 10 waves of units, and as you pass the 10 waves, you'll just keep infinitely fighting as far as you can go until your units are dead, right? So you can see in my case, I was able to beat 122 waves, and I beat, in terms of that, right? I beat 12 areas. I'm stuck on the 13th one. In this case, I am able to continue from where I was stuck, right? So you don't have to play it all over again. And yeah, as you beat these dungeons, you will be getting rewards. The last one is guild related, right? Unfortunately, this I am not able to access yet. I'm not even sure if this is released because I haven't been able to access this ever since I started the game, right? But for this one, this is like a weird sort of guild raid. You do this solo, you get 3 entries per day, and you will get some rewards based on the clear. So usually you'll get like 50 to 100 crystals, some gold, and these guild coins, right? Occasionally, you will also get like gear for your summoner. Not summoner. I keep confusing it with a different game. You'll get gear for your units, but it's not really good gear. Right? So once you've passed like Act 3, 4, stuff like that, this gear will be pretty much useless. Now for the PvP mode, probably the most fun part of the game, right? So there are 3 types of PvP modes. The first one is the regular arena. In here, you essentially see the 5 units that the opponent has, right? You'll see the rank, their power, all of that. And you will be able to fight them with the 5 units of your own, right? You can do a regular fight, so I'm not going to showcase too much. It's really pretty similar to the story mission. You see 5 units, you decide on your team, and then you fight. There's also a gray button under the orange one, which will allow you to just quick battle others, right? So I haven't done too much testing on how this is done, right? But yeah, usually if you have significantly higher unit power than your enemy, most of the time you will win, but sometimes you will lose. So I'm not even sure whether it's doing fighting quickly behind the scenes or if it is actually just calculating based on chance or something like that. So yeah, I'll try to figure that out in the future, right? Now the last one, I'm gonna leave the middle one for a bit. The last one is very similar. However, this time you're not fighting one team, you're fighting 3 teams versus 3 teams. So this will require more units. In most cases, you will not be able to build that many units at a high level, at least early on, right? I know that I can confidently say that I cannot use more than like 6 or 7 units without the rest of them being quite low, right? Even though there is a system to increase your units to a high level for free, pretty much. So yeah, this arena, very similar, just instead of fighting one team of 5, you are fighting 3 teams of 5. Again, you can also quick battle these. It will determine the result based on who knows what, really, right? And yeah, you will be getting rewards. For victories, you usually get 100 coins. For a defeat, you get 80 coins. So don't worry, if you are not able to beat anyone, you will still be able to get decent rewards from there. And now the last mode that I want to showcase is the probably one of the coolest concepts that I've seen in a game. I don't know if this has been done before, right? But what it is essentially you are able to fight. I think this resets weekly. There are 10 rounds in total. You get some crystals and some summoning pieces for units. And what you do is it takes the top 10 people's defenses in arena and you are able to fight them. So essentially it will adjust the power based on your level. So let's say if all of your units are level 120, the enemy units will also be level 120, right? As you can see, in my case, most of my units are 120, 130. There is one unit 160, which means they adjusted the unit power to level 140. And in here, you are able to challenge the defenses of the top 10 people that placed this week, right? Which is very cool because first of all, you are able to see the defenses of like the top performance, which means you are able to like look into the strategies that they use, look into the unit choices that they use, right? And I don't even know if this team will beat it. I haven't attempted it yet, but we can just take a look. Most of these top teams will have quite a lot of light and dark units, right? So yeah, those do have an advantage over elemental units. They will not have an advantage over the element bonuses that you get. However, what they do get an advantage in is the elemental, the sort of like placement bonuses, which will grant you, first of all, damage for your team, as well as either energy recharge for your team if you are using light units, or energy recharge slowness if you are using dark units, right? So yeah, in this case I won. I'm not gonna attempt too much further. I'll try to do it behind the camera, but yeah, that's the general concept behind the game. I hope I showcased enough so that you are able to get a clear picture of what you can expect in this game, right? The rest of the menus are really nothing special. Like this is just sort of like a collection of like story modes, all of the animations, all of that. You can get some crystals from there. There's some goofy concept here called Starseed where you can, it's essentially just a clone of Instagram for all the units that you have, right? And it does play out a bit in here, right? You can see that first of all, you're able to send gifts, message them, poke them, whatever you want to do, right? And as you level up the rank, you will be able to get more rewards, as well as quite a big stat boost once you get to those higher levels, right? Again, this is, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this particular part, right? But yeah. And oh, one last thing. I forgot about the summons, right? So the summons, first 4 banners right here are regular unit summons, and these ones are plugin summons, so basically like the additions. When it comes to the rates of them, right, the plugins are guaranteed to be SSR, right? So 100% chance to SSR, and you are able to select 5 that you want, and each one you select will have 15% chance to drop. The rest of the chances will be split amongst all the other ones, right? And for the units, they do have these featured banners. So as you can see, featured banners will use these yellow recruitment tickets. This is like a special event. I don't know if it will be global when the game releases, but you basically are able to select one unit that you want from the regularly available ones, and you will have the pity drop at 100 summons. But on top of that, you are able to select 2 light or dark units, and you will have an increased rate on that, right? So yeah, for regular featured summons, as you can see, there's the featured unit, there's the 2 light and dark units that you select, and the rates for them are, the featured unit is at 0.4% per roll. The light and dark units that you select will have 0.06%, and then the rest of the units are split at 0.08, and like the lower tiers will have even higher percentages, right? The regular summons, you'll see that those use regular tickets, so you don't have to like keep saving them all the time. For regular summons, you are able to select quite a bit. So first of all, you can select 15 units to get the rate up, 5 from each element. On top of that, you are able to select 2 light and dark units as well. And based on these, the light and darks will have 0.06%. The selected 15 elemental units will have 0.25. And now if you only select like one elemental, it will not combine it. It will have 0.25 and it will split the rest amongst all of the other tiers, right? This one, same thing as the previous summon, is just you use these friendship tokens, which I will actually use because you don't really have much use apart from summoning with them, right? Now, yeah, the summon animations, I will say this, I'm definitely not gonna wait through the summon animations. They are insanely long. They are insanely long, like you have to click these cubes, then they, if it's a necessary drop, they'll start the weird animation, right? So yeah, you'll have to skip. Unfortunately, I didn't get any SSR here. The blue units are still very important, right? They will be your main materials to upgrade your main 5-star units, your SSR units, right? So definitely do not feed them or anything. They will be very, very useful. And then there's the plugin summons, right? So yeah, you essentially get these plugins. Plugins will not be difficult to get. Again, it's 100% chance to get an SSR plugin. I have majority of them without even trying to summon new ones, right? Like you can see, the ones that are highlighted I already have, and the ones that are not highlighted I haven't dropped yet. I probably will have them by like the end of the week, not gonna lie. Again, like you select that unit, you drop it once, and then you keep it. You try to summon for dupes on the units that you actually use, yeah? So yeah, I think I showcased pretty much the majority of the content I can. If you do want to see some sort of a specific showcase about any other aspect of the game, do let me know in the comments, right? And yeah, I will be playing this when it launches for global, probably in like a good month or month and a half. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about the game as well, right? Yeah, that's about it, and peace.